Hey guys, this is Impact Hall of Famer Gail Kim, and you are watching the Countdown City WrestleCast.
What's up, heels and baby faces? Welcome to another episode of the Countdown City WrestleCast. I'm your host, JC, and I am joined this week by Tommy.
Oh.
And a special guest sitting here along with us. You know him in the chat usually as B Ninja. We got Brandon.
This one right here? Me right here? Oh, yes. Hey, how's it going, y'all?
Yeah.
I was going to say, wow, Mike, you look really different in black. That's confusing, but okay, it's Brandon. Okay.
I mean, I dropped a little bit 100 pounds and dipped myself in some cocoa butter, and all of a sudden I became Brandon. So what's going on?
Some kind of fusion dance. Anyway.
Just the fusion went wrong. I guess we had to wait 24 hours, but anyway.
Thanks for joining us. Mike and Tina want to be a part of this show, but there's just something going on in the air with teachers this week, and they just had a kind of a rough day, a rough week. I guess kids get crazy when they know turkey break is coming. So,
I can confirm that's 100% true.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So props to teachers. I know y'all deal with a whole lot of shit, especially over the last couple of years, and I've seen it firsthand. Yeah, y'all definitely don't get paid enough. I've seen that firsthand. But we're gonna go ahead and go on with the show. And as I mentioned on social media, if you've been following us on Twitter at @CCG_WrestleCast, it's right below Tommy. He's pointing to it right now. Brandon's kind of pointing there with one finger. It's just, he kind of went like this. We are going to be talking today about PWI Women's 150 now. Not the 100, the 150. This nifty little issue of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, which is actually one of their better issues because there is an article about Daphne in here. There's one about Renee Paquette, excuse me. I don't know why I said Rachel. And it breaks down the whole 150 in this as well. And we're going to talk about the latest round of WWE Pink Slips releases because it seems we cannot do a show without some news breaking the next day.
At this point, not even with that, but with the releases thing, we should almost you can almost kind of set your watch by it. It's like you know, this is like the third time this year we've had this subject. Like we've had that marquee on the video. It's like you're fired, the Pink Slip. That's like the third time this year we've done that, I think.
Yeah.
And what's a coincidence is that it's after the fact that they have their cue calls of how much gross that they made throughout the entire time. And the fact that they're celebrating all these grosses is the time that they realize that they just cut everybody. I'm just like, oh,
the timing whenever they do that is just like, wow, guys, feel the room.
So, you guys are wondering, well, last week you said we talk about Full Gear this week. We will talk Full Gear. But it seemed appropriate considering that stuff always happens on Dynamite and Rampage that we're going to wait until Sunday at noon Central Time. Live, we're going to come on and talk all about AW Full Gear, which takes place that evening on pay-per-view. Be sure to join us on Saturday at noon. And we'll post a link for that later on. So stay tuned to our social media for the link to that show as well. Mike should be back for that. I know he's pretty excited about Full Gear. They have been building up so much to that with the storylines. But as I mentioned, if we put that all into one show, we'd be here till midnight. And I don't think anybody of us wants to do that. It's been a long week so far.
And hell, the Punk Kingston match that they booked kind of not randomly, but out of nowhere.
Christmas.
The promo got me hyped for that. So yeah, that's that. I can't wait to talk about that show. Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's going to be just a standard match. I have some feelings sometime this week they're going to make it some sort of violent stipulation. And
I hope
for it. Yeah.
I saw someone say on Twitter and YouTube, I think, that they said, "I hope this isn't the only match that these two have," and I couldn't agree more. I was like, "Yes, well, I will absolutely take Punk and Kingston on multiple occasions, please and thank you."
Yeah.
Traffic all 60 minutes, whoever.
Bro.
So we're gonna start this by talking about the latest round of WWE releases. In all, there was 18 talents told they were let go, who are going to be sent trash bags with all their belongings if history has any sort of say.
Oh man, I hope that doesn't happen. I really do. Like that'll be We so
I
bad.
wouldn't doubt it, especially with some people saying Keith Lee was difficult to work with, which, who knows. If there's any sort of precedent for that, the woman that got released might be getting one. But anyway, let me just mention the roster cuts, and here we go. On the WWE main roster, there was only 4. Keith Lee, who's already calling himself Limitless again, thank God. Karrion Kross, Nia Jax, and Ava Marie. Don't mind the last one.
Don't mind that last one. Okay,
Let's
but
be
that
honest.
was the. Let's also be honest. That was the. If that was it, that was the biggest waste of time of a bring back I have ever seen. And we have seen some huge waste of time in WWE, but that was the. If this was it, if this was all they had, that was the biggest waste of time. On the bright side, it did lead to Ruby Riott becoming Ruby Soho, so I will say I'll take it.
Yeah.
And I will say one positive in regards of Eva's return. It did help Dewdrop, Piper Niven, get herself over to the main roster audience. So I wouldn't say her run was a bit out of the waste. I mean, of course, Eva Marie in general, as far as the wrestling world's kind of a waste, but that's beside the point. The point they brought her in was to get someone else over, and they accomplished that with Dewdrop. And from what we see at Raw, looks like we're going to get her and Bianca. And if we could get the Viper heel that we've known for in the SWE days and all of her promotions that she fought in UK, we are going to be into what we've all been known that she's capable of doing. So
You
I'll
think
leave
she
it at
would
that.
change her name back if she goes full heel?
I hope to God.
Dewdrop is not a heel's name.
Heavenly Father, I've been hoping she changed her name back.
But at the same time, there's already Pipers and Vipers already EP'd with WWE, so I highly doubt it.
No, but still.
Hollywood mentions by email. Yeah, some were told by email.
Yeah.
A simple phone call, you know? And I'm liking the fact that TikTok has been trending around with, after CM Punk famously made the pipe bomb promo, he was just kind of shoot promoing on everybody every week on WWE, and they showed the one with Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis. Did you actually tell him in person? He's like, hey, sorry to let you go. I love how he does his impression. It's so hilarious.
My favorite one was the burn Max Castergate to Bryan Danielson in regards of referencing him in his match right there. I was like, if y'all didn't catch that reference,
Max
man.
Caster must be and must not be stopped. It's amazing how the dichotomy. He must and must not be stopped. That's what I'm saying. It's like you should stop him, but also he should never be stopped ever. So
let him roll, let him get himself over because let him get himself over with that. It's hilarious.
And it's the good kind of heat.
I'm like dead serious. Whenever he puts one out, I'm in.
Now, those were the main roster cuts. So for sure, they all have 90-day no-compete clauses. They can't work for any major promotion for 90 days. WWE will still be paying them for those 90 days. And that expires February 2nd. So pretty much about a few days after the Royal Rumble. Not that it matters. They wouldn't be there anyway. Right? Unless they get re-signed for some reason.
I just like, at this point, the Royal Rumble will be like, they'll have to put the women in because all the men are gone, and they have like 8 women left. 4 on Raw, 4 on SmackDown.
I mean,
either that or just
right?
Either that or just call up some legends or the people that they just fired and say, hey, you want to do a little quick gig in the Royal Rumble right quick? We'll give you a nice payday. And I'm like,
I just saw in my head. I just saw Vince. We'll call some legends. You know who I'll call? I'll call Big Show and Sting. They're not doing anything right now. Vince, they both work for. I said they're not doing anything right now. Damn it.
I'm like, what's that Kim doing? I know she rolled out of the ring. Battle Royals are her specialties. Let's call her back. She is a producer for Impact right now, and she's a Hall of Famer for a company that she built.
Don't insult Gail's intelligence with that. She would never fucking do it. She's already said that many times.
But the mental image of Vince McMahon calling Gail Kim is so hilarious to me.
After all the shit that she said he can't do on social media, I would love it.
That's what I'm saying. That is the most hilarious mental image to me. I would crack my brain open if like the vocal that ever even happened. It's just hilarious.
All right, so on the NXT roster side of it, now these are no 30-day no competes. However, the first one, I'm not sure where her contract status is, and that's Ember Moon. Obviously, she was on the main roster. She went back to NXT. So I don't know if she's technically on the 90-day or the 30-day. That's kind of up in the air. We'll wait and see. But the rest are all NXT contracts. Mia Yim, Harry Smith, Lince Dorado, Grand Metalik, Jeet Rama, Katrina Cortez, Trey Baxter, Zeta Ramier, Jesse Kamea, B Fab, Oni Lorcan, Frankie Monet, aka Taya Valkyrie, who is already
She wasted no time.
So fast.
Talk,
It
okay.
felt like she was waiting.
You thought Ava Marie's tenure was short. That was a waste of a signing. It
Oh,
really
and JC,
was.
JC, to cut you off, Mia signed a main roster deal because she's been on the main roster for a while, so she's
was-
90 days.
Mia-
along with
Mia
Keith,
is
just
90
to
days?
correct
Okay.
it.
Because she was
Mia's
reckoning,
90 days.
she was reckoning with disruption
But did they give her?
interruption
Did they
or-
give her the full main? Yeah, disruption. Right. We call it disruption
She-
on the show. Yeah.
Call it disruption. I
And she
can't
was
remember
drafted to
their
Raw on
actual,
top of
I can't
it.
remember their actual name. I don't remember their actual name anymore. I can't remember their
Retribution.
actual name. Thank you. I actually forgot because we keep calling them disruption here, and so much I could never remember their names anymore. And I was like, what the hell were their actual? What's the?
It sounds like a goddamn Mortal Kombat title. That's
It really
basically what the
does.
gimmick is.
Okay,
It really
first of all,
does.
but it sounds like a Mortal Kombat title before X. Like when they got good again, it's like it came before 9. And it
So
was like
basically, it's Armageddon. That's the
Yeah,
faction.
that's what I'm saying. It was like a really bad Mortal Kombat game that they put out because they had to keep the licensing. And so,
No offense, mythologies or special forces.
Mythologies was pretty fun. I like Mythologies.
Yeah, I can't wait for Deadly Alliance to make its debut. Right. And the final, the final roster cut, and probably the one that's been the most vocal on social media since it happened, is Scarlett Bordeaux. And I'm very happy for her because
Give 0 Fs was a person.
yes, look, honestly, of all these releases, I'm the happiest for Scarlett and Carrion. They had a
God,
great
yes.
thing going on NXT together, and then the main roster. I mean, come on, the entrance was great. It was
It
working.
was way better than
The entrance was fine, but
was
the
over.
characters that they gave them, it was over, yes.
Yes.
But the characters that they kind of gave them, I was a little lukewarm about
I
that.
think,
But
yeah.
different chunks, different folks.
I think the main problem was the first thing they did was let Adam Cole have a mic against him, and I was like, well, that's a bad idea because Adam Cole could destroy anyone on the mic. So don't.
Yeah.
When I saw that promo, I was like, oh no, don't do that. That's not fair. That man did nothing to deserve that.
But Hollywood, by the way, says Booker T, Nash, Triple H, HBK, and Boogeyman all the Rumble. Write it down.
Booker T
none of
would
them are
bring
there,
a
I'll be
freaking golf
surprised.
club.
Right.
Yeah.
But Scarlett is already saying, I haven't gotten to wrestle in 2 years because basically WWE wouldn't let her, and she's excited for that. And very underrated as a wrestler, I will say.
Yeah, she is.
And
She's
she fits the WWE mold that they look into a woman
Well-
for the period of time. That's
Not anymore. Right?
Yeah.
You know?
I'm with Brandon. I said the same thing. I was like, why didn't they ever use her? If Vince wants to
it's mind-boggling.
it's like between her, Liv Morgan, and all these women that Vince apparently has a thing for, but doesn't use them. And I'm very confused as to what's going on here, but whatever.
That's an interesting one because, let's face it, all this talent they're getting rid of is all people signed by Triple H. It's all people Triple H wanted in NXT. All people he wanted to bring up. So
Really good point.
slowly but surely, they're making a point to undo everything he did that was right about NXT because it doesn't fit their 2.0 mold. You know, reports already come out.
That doggone Nickelodeon logo.
Yeah.
For real.
I hate that logo like so much. I hate that logo so much. I really do.
And it's bad on the eyes on my part, so it's hard to
Dude,
watch. It gives me seizures.
It gives me seizures, but for different reasons. I'm just like, oh Lord, what kindergartner came up with this? Why was it Vince?
Probably
Well-
Vince or Stephanie's kids.
First
Yeah,
of
okay.
all, don't insult a kindergarten like that. They might actually stay in the lines.
Yeah,
but
Merv.
anyway, anyway. As far as
no!
Scarlett and Carrion, they're great together. And it's interesting to me because Vince has long had a thing about married, engaged couples. He doesn't want to split them up. He never puts them on separate rosters, right? He never does that. But they almost made a point to do that with Scarlett and Carrion. It's almost like you called up Karrion Kross to bury him. Like, what was the point? Because everything that was working for him did not work on the main roster. They just took it away. You know?
Exactly the same thing with Keith. They called him up after he won, became a double champion, and they did the same thing.
Changed
Granted,
his music,
he had
changed his
Carrying.
look. Yeah.
Carrying with that doggone gladiator gimmick, I was like, okay. So Brandon, I don't know if you've heard me say this, but I actually forget Monday Night Raw is on half the time until like there's an IG page I follow that posts images of Raw. That's how I actually been following Raw for the past like 6 months because I legitimately forget Raw is on. So one day I was on Instagram and the guy I follow was posting about it, and I saw an image of Cross's new outfit, and I had no idea who that was. I was like, who is that? Who are they debuting? I read Karrion Kross. I was like, I think my immediate reaction was, sweet baby Jesus. They just ruined him.
Yeah, the moment they came out, trying to make him like a dollar store Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat, I'm just like, nah.
Hey, I was thinking Russell Crowe. I thought Russell Crowe from Gladiator immediately. I just thought, oh, Gladiator's on Netflix. Vince must have just watched it and thought that was a good idea and thought this movie was brand new. Not knowing it came out back in 2000, but whatever.
Same thing with 300. That's what I was thinking when.
102. I also thought Leonidas and the Spartans. Yeah.
You mean Laurinaitis, but anyway.
Actually, never mind.
Yeah.
I like yours better, Laurinaitis.
Lord.
Right?
Rolls in the tongue. Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, JC. I don't know if you read this or heard this. It's a rumor I heard. And I know we don't like to talk about rumors a lot, but this is one I've heard that I think is kind of relevant. One of the rumors I heard is that they're now looking, as far as the women specifically go, is like no one older than like 25 or 24, something like that, and like a certain height and weight. And I was just like, so basically you're gonna just completely backpedal the whole women's evolution thing, 100%.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Completely backwards.
And on top of that, sorry to cut you off, Tommy. On top of that, half of your roster, women's roster that is at the prime of their careers in their mid-30s to 40s. So why would you backpedal all of that when their most prime experience and their prime stardom is at the current ages that they currently are right now, i.e. the Four Horsewomen?
Yeah, I mean, and Mako Satomura. I mean, she's been in the game
Shayna
for a
Baszler,
very long.
Tamina, Asuka.
Yep. Yeah.
We can go on.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. If he decides to release Asuka, please God, that one's okay with me because I can name a myriad of promotions she'll go to. Let's start with number one, New Japan. She has unfinished business with Minoru Suzuki. Let's just go with this.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I see
you see.
I was like,
they have unfinished business. Let's settle that. She'll be the first female. She'll bridge the gap to New Japan.
and trust me, Kana's that type of wrestler where she strikes so hard, she actually, true story, put people in comas. So that's how legit she is. So the fact that WWE managed to... I'm surprised how WWE managed to tone her down. It's crazy.
Suzuki said, she knocked someone out for real? When can I fight her?
Well, right now Suzuki's got to deal with Caleb Connolly with a K on Impact this Thursday.
Like so about that, whatever.
Exactly. Just use him like a damn rat.
I like Caleb already because he's gonna get.
I saw that too. I was like, so Impact is legalizing murder now is what they're doing. So they're just gonna let this poor guy just get killed.
First off, they've been legalizing murder. I mean, they put Mickey James off a train. They killed Ali in the Undead Realm, and they killed Ethan Page out with his alter ego.
Okay, you're right.
Unintended.
And Sue Young's died about 5 times. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, she's the Undead Bride anyway, and thank God the AEW was able to do a seance to resurrect Ethan Page, and they basically practiced from what they did for Adam Cole. That's basically what it was, So, congratulations with that. Keep the comments coming in the chat, by the way, people. That's hilarious. You mentioned that's kind of the new thing with the women. On top of them wanting to go younger, and this is a roster as a whole, people they're trying to hire, they don't want them to have any wrestling experience or very limited. They want to mold them the way they want, a la Alexa Bliss, a la Mandy Rose, who, by the way, is the first Tough Enough alum female to win a championship in any WWE promotion.
Facts.
Think
I
about
can't
that.
recall Nydia, no Linda Miles, no Jackie Gata, no female.
No female that
Mandy
has ever
was
been
the
on
only
Tough
one.
Enough has ever
Oh,
won a championship.
that is horribly depressing to realize. Oh my god.
I mean, it could have been her and Sonya with the tag titles, but they booked them very differently every single time. So
How they booked Mandy and Sonya, I to this day I'll never understand. But okay.
No. That's not to say Mandy Rose doesn't deserve it, because I think of that Tough Enough
She does.
class
She
she was
absolutely
in,
does.
she's worked.
she works hard.
very
I'll give
hard
her
for
her
it,
props, but the fact that
The
you're
fact
going
that
to
she's the first
sacrifice
one after all this time is really depressing to me. It's like, wow.
Right.
Okay.
beyond mind-boggling.
But people like her and Alexa are pretty much the poster child for what WWE's looking for.
Carmella too.
Carmella as well. People with not a lot of wrestling experience who are athletic. They bring them in and they build them up through the PC the way they want them to be.
And you know what?
they'll
Come to
stay
think
there.
about it, Charlotte, because Charlotte primarily had wrestling experience before signing. Yes, she grew up wrestling her whole life, but never actually stepped into the ring until she got signed. So technically, she is a PC product.
She never did any sort of like independence or nothing with Rick.
Nope.
Flair? Nothing. Wow.
Yeah, I don't
Nothing
think
with
she
Rick
really did, yeah.
whatsoever. Nope.
So that's what they're looking for, and on the male side too, the same thing. They don't want people with wrestling experience. So the way
So
I
basically, you
see
just-
it is that's fine. You have all this talent out there that AEW is going to snatch up, that Impact's going to snatch up, that if Ring of Honor comes back properly, will snatch up. You're elevating New Japan's foothold in the U.S. with New Japan USA.
And GCW is becoming a booming thing if they're interested in that style.
GCW got a lot of groundswell. Like a lot of them could just go there. I mean, look, Matt Cardona. He's made a killer career out of just going there. Even he's only been 8 times, if that many, and he's just been made a killing over there.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, the news of this releases came out literally hours after they reported $255.8 million in revenue over the last few months, and then said they had to fire talent due to budget cuts. And
Bullshit.
Thank you.
There may be more on the way. And first of all, I want to know what these damn budget cuts were, because you just made Chingos in Saudi Arabia. Did you not, for Crown Jewel, which is one of your better shows? So,
And they got 2 more shows next year, so
is the company going for sale? That's an interesting question, because people have been wondering why all these cuts are being made.
It's got to be. It has got to be at this point. I remember I made the joke after this in Messenger to people, but I was actually kind of serious. I said, okay, wait a minute, who's left? Because there's at this point their roster is Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Bianca Belair, which
and
I'll
Charlotte.
admit, and Charlotte.
Styles.
Well, yeah, but then Charlotte, she's in hot water lately, and I'll be shocked if she's there much longer.
Rightfully so, not her fault, but props to her for speaking her damn mind.
Yeah.
The Charlotte thing, I'm not as against her stance as everyone else seems to be. I think a lot of that is just people who just don't like Charlotte regardless. So anyway, but my thing is, it's like, okay, someone posted they photoshopped a picture of everyone they released just this year, just in 2021. And you look at that picture and you're like, that's a company. That is a company. You can run a solid wrestling company for years off that group alone.
Last year's as well.
Yeah, and it's and to me, that's insane to me that you have released so much talent of able-bodied wrestlers that could be a company. And I say able-bodied wrestlers because I still can't believe that at one point they wanted Adam Cole to cut his hair and be a manager. And and apparently be called Budge. At least that's what John Silver said. I don't know how accurate that is, but anyway. But it's like they want him to cut his hair, change his name, be a manager. It's like, I'm kind of like with other people now. It's like, okay, I'm convinced that Vince just hates wrestling now. I'm convinced he just hates it, and he just does not like wrestling anymore.
I mean, he doesn't care about the tag teams. He got rid of the women's tag team divisions. He just stopped caring, period. He just wants to sell the damn company and live retirement like it's golden at this point. And
at this point, doesn't he have enough money? Can he just, I don't know, walk away and just give it to somebody else? Like, I don't know why he has to sell it.
Because he wants more money.
Exactly,
investing
investing
in case any future lawsuits come in, especially with the way they've handled medical care, right? I mean, I think that's on the horizon.
I mean, allow your talents to pay.
I think Keith posted something about that. Like he had to pay for his own medical bills for something. I think.
Something like that. Yeah,
think
when he was
so,
making
yeah.
his recovery, when he was dealing with, he got really sick, when he had
Which
the
is
heart
flipping
complications.
which is flipping stupid
I mean,
because
life-threatening.
WWE should cover all that.
Yeah, but that's how they get by.
Yeah.
That we've talked about this. John Oliver
Yeah.
pointed out last week tonight, a couple years ago. This is how they get around it. They're independent contractors, as opposed to AEW hires them as full-time employees. And, someone pretty much confirmed that years ago in the 80s, when they wanted to unionize wrestlers, you had guys like Hogan stopping it because he was benefiting and nobody else was. John Cena potentially could have done the same thing. I don't know for sure. If they're trying to unionize then, well, why would John Cena want to be a part of it? He's making a lot of money, who knows? Like, it's the guys on top, the Roman Reigns of the world, the Brock Lesnar's, don't really need that because they're already successful. They're making the money. But everyone else, the majority of your roster, majority of your talent, needs to stand up and do it. You don't need the full roster to unionize, and someone needs to make that available. And if WWE has a problem with that, well, if they form a union, you let them go, fine. They'll go to a promotion that will support that. And I believe there's plenty out there that will. AEW has made it a point, like I said, to be full-time, to provide medical benefits if you're signed full-time. And for good reason.
Now, if they allow them to have their employees fully vaccinated, that's a whole different conversation. But in the meantime,
yeah, that's a whole other debate. And then they're trying to control how they make money off third-party providers like Twitch, OnlyFans, Cameo, all that stuff. And honestly, if you're not paying them, they should be allowed to do that. And
I saw something earlier today, like up, down, down is like with Xavier Woods and some kind of controversy, something like that. And I'm like,
because they're firing everybody that's been a part of his show.
Didn't he start the damn channel? How is there controversy around this thing that this man created? I don't understand.
Because WWE also owned profits within Xavier's gaming channel, even though he brought it up himself. They negotiated between one another.
I'm saying this: if they ever release the New Day, I'm officially, absolutely, 100% WWE. I think I don't like.
Yeah, they made him so much money. They made him so much money, right? But yeah, everyone that's been a part of the Up, Down, Down channel, Adam Cole was on there, Tyler Breeze. Yeah, and he started
the whole Breeze Star group.
Yeah.
Cesaro's
still there, obviously, but, he started that himself. They never use their WWE names. He made it a point to do that, to use their different name, different tag, whatever. And now, I guess, with this third-party thing, they almost kind of had to negotiate his property rights with WWE because, and Hollywood just brought it up, they sell a replica of the Up, Down, Down championship.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So, on some level, they're profiting. Now, how they've worked it out where Xavier Woods will be able to work as Austin Creed on G4 remains to be seen. I'm actually very excited for him to be a part of G4. I'm excited for G4 to be back. I used to watch it all the time along with Tech TV.
Same.
Yes. So I knew about Olivia Munn before any of you people out there did, all right? Before she was dating Aaron Rodgers and being Psylocke and all that stuff. I knew she was awesome back then. So, Brandon, I'm glad you're here because you're wearing her shirt. This is kind of bittersweet. Ember Moon, we were all excited to see her, Athena, I should say. Tommy's wearing an Ember Moon shirt. To see her on WWE, to see her make her debut, to see the crowd reaction when she hit and I'm going to call it its real name, O-Face. Screw the Eclipse, O-Face. Because that's your reaction when you see her, like, oh, yeah.
And when you're about to build up, you're just like, oh. But yeah.
Now, granted, she wasn't the first one I saw do it. Obviously, she learned that from Juggalo James, who was the very first time I saw him doing ACW, and that was just amazing. But she's added her own spin on it. It's been great. Brandon, you're such a huge fan of hers. How would you evaluate her time in WWE, and how do you feel about her release, and what are you excited to see in the future for her?
I mean, well, obviously the release sucks because she's out of work, and not only that, just cutting her away from her dream job because she's been wanting to do this as 10. As you guys already know, and for those that don't know me very well, Ember Moon's been my number. Excuse me, rewind. Athena
There you go.
has been my number one.
Athena, people.
Attended my first independent show in 2010, which was the ACW Queen of Queens, where she had that killer match with Mischief. And mind you, same venue with Sarah Del Rey, who's still a producer and coach in WWE right now, Daisy Hayes, Daphne, God rest her soul, Rachel Summerlin, and all the Shimmer talents that was a part of the tournament. And the only one I didn't know was this one right here, and she impressed everybody to the point where it catapulted her to Shimmer, WSU, and all these other promotions, from the thumbtacks matches to all the Queen of Queens victories to the Tommy is a bitch tangle with Sean Vex. God rest his soul.
Rest in peace, Sean Vex.
I co-signed on that, which I'm still mad at for, because I thought we were cool. And apparently we weren't cool, and she didn't tell me we were cool. I didn't know what I did because we were cool. I thought we were cool. Anyway, go ahead. You were talking, Brandon.
But yeah, all of that just let. Yeah.
Hollywood also mentioned she battled back from a near career-ending injury too. Yeah,
that too. And that's what led her to.
You believe I keep forgetting that ever happened to her because it never shows to me when she wrestles. Can you believe I keep forgetting that ever happened?
Yeah.
And I've seen her wrestle big men. She wrestled James Claxton, for God's sakes, and she's
she wasn't afraid of nobody. She
didn't give a
damn who you were.
And she's 5'2", and she can lift 400 pounds. So that just shows.
Look up like I don't give a damn how big you are. You get down here so I can kick your ass.
Put you down to my level, and you will say my name.
Catch these hands, homie. That's what you finna do. You finna catch these hands.
Think about this too: the mixed match challenge, when she was a replacement partner for Braun Strowman, when the second one I think it was, and so she was Braun Strowman's new partner when Alexa Bliss couldn't do it. The first time they did the eclipse where she did it off of his shoulders. Remember that shit? My God.
Oh,
yeah.
And I've seen her done some crazy innovations with her Diamond Stunner. Tommy can vouch for that when she did it to Jessica Havoc on some chairs.
That was probably one of the coolest moves I'd ever seen to this day, bar none. When it was Queen of Queens the next year.
2012. 2012.
And when they were doing the false count anywhere, she hit it on the chair on the back of the chairs that were lined up. I legitimately thought that was one of the most inventive ways I'd ever saw a match end ever.
Exactly, and she brought it to War Games. She did it on Dakota Kai in the War Games match. So I'm really just cool. Like. But as far as her WWE run, I'm happy she got to hold the NXT Women's title. I was there at the War Games where she won the damn thing and got to see her the day prior at a meet and greet, just embracing and everything. But even though I was happy she won the NXT Women's title, I just wish she won it from Asuka to make that title reign and that win a lot more credible in her eyes.
I thought was what they were going to do the whole time. I thought that's what that whole story was building up to, is her being the one person who could beat Asuka for it.
Exactly, and she's.
I felt like to me they were kind of because I love this rivalry so much. I thought they were like the CM Punk Samoa Joe of NXT. Like they had that kind of rivalry going. Oh, you know what? I'll do you one better. Kind of like the RVD Jerry Lynn. Like the only person who could actually beat Asuka was Ember Moon because she had wrestled her so many times. When they didn't go that route, I was disappointed, but I was like, I kind of get it. You kind of want Asuka to remain kind of that unbeatable force. But I guess for us it was personal. Because it was like, I just want to see her beat Asuka.
Well,
like, guys,
when you look at how it panned out, I start to wonder now, did Vince tell him not to have her lose because he wanted Charlotte to be her first loss?
Exactly. And I was there for WrestleMania where she defeated Asuka. And even though that was my match of the night, because their in-ring chemistry was flawless,
yeah. So the thing is with the whole Asuka thing is like, I don't mind her losing, and I didn't mind the match either. I just would have liked a bit more of a fight in it, if that makes any sense. If you guys get what I mean, it's like to me, I don't mind an unstoppable force losing a match, but I like it to be knock down, drag out. Like, this is it. I can't fight anymore. Sorry, I'm sorry that I keep mentioning these two, but I'm gonna do it again. Tanahashi and Okada. Look, JC, I said I was sorry before I started talking. They are the best ones who make you feel like they have damn near died to beat each other, and that was my thing. And to piggyback off of what Brandon was saying earlier about Athena back when she first started, JC, you might remember too how green she was. Like back when she first started, she was green. She was brand new. Like you saw the mistakes she was making and everything.
I remember the frustration in Rachel Summerlin's face. Just nerves.
I actually saw that match.
I
actually got the DVD of it.
Yeah, and Rachel's a bit heated afterward, but I just told Rachel, hey, she's green. She'll get there. Just keep working with her. And it reminded me so much of another one, Sean Vex, Jimmy Jacobs. If you guys remember this, the first time they wrestled, Sean was so nervous, and Jimmy was pretty frustrated by the end of it. They just messed up so much. You can tell it was nerves. They wrestled again at a Lone Star Classic. I think it was the final, the Lone Star Classic final. And Vex went over big, and it was amazing match. It was night and day, those two matches. And you see a lot of that and some of that young, underrated talent. Yeah, those first matches, it's never going to be perfect. You're never going to wrestle a 5-star match early in your career. It's just difficult. But they work at it. They get better at it. Vex went around.
They sued the tango.
Yeah. I mean, after that second match, I talked to Jimmy Jacobs the next day, and he was like, yeah, it was 9 days, so much better. He's gotten so much better. He was so happy with how it turned out. With Athena, they wrestled again with Rachel, and Rachel seemed a lot happier with it. And Rachel just jokingly tells me, remember when she almost killed me before? And I miss Rachel so much too. I really she's doing well.
For those watching, if you're not familiar with the name Rachel Summerlin, Google that name.
Yeah,
you want to talk about the purest of talents here in the Texas scene. Google that name.
For so many reasons, and I understand why she's not wrestling anymore, but when she did a final autograph, a goodbye autograph session too at what was business promotion?
Inspire.
Thank you. We couldn't make it. Tina was about to, or we just had Adi, and but thank you, by the way, Rachel. If I haven't said this before, for signing an autograph picture, sending it so that I can get it for Adi. It's in her room, by the way. You had some good words of wisdom for her. I do appreciate that. So but yeah, she had a great career in WWE. It's never say never in wrestling, but then again, the way they're going right now, who knows? Now, can I see her on a TV promotion within 30 or 90 days, whatever? Absolutely.
Yes.
There is a lot of women's.
Give it till December or January, depending on the interest.
Yeah, it's either February 2nd, or if it's the 30 days, it's December 4th. And if it's AEW and they're trying to build up this women's roster,
and diverse the women's roster with,
people of color, exactly. And they're gonna have a mid-card, they're gonna have a mid-card championship for the women as well. They're looking for women who can wrestle.
By the way, for everyone complaining about AEW and the women in that regard, I was like, well, they kind of are doing something that a lot of companies have not done yet, and that's create a mid-card roster women's belt. And
exactly,
nothing wrong with that. So yeah.
And appropriately, it's the TNT title and the TBS title, right?
TBS.
So that's what that
Can't
works out. So,
Keith
Lee, Karrion Kross and Scarlett, they're going to go somewhere together. They're going to be working together for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them in RCW together. Scarlett's got a lot of rapport with Brandon Oliver. Brandon's a big fan of hers. So
Cross was in BOW a lot, right before he got signed. So if I wouldn't be shocked if Clint managed to get him to manage to pop back up. Terry, if you're still watching, go to Clint real quick.
If you do try to take a picture of the show, do not hit on Scarlett. Karen will kick your ass, I'm pretty sure, even though she'd probably do it too.
Aw, crap.
But these releases, I'm sorry, I was gonna say these releases now, it's almost like a sigh of relief for the most part for some of these talents, because I
was thinking that too after the initial shock. I was like, oh, thank God they can go somewhere and be appreciated.
Not only that, but when a lot of these talents were signed, WWE was the only game in town to be able to afford those big contracts, to pay you to do your craft. There's a lot of competition now. Obviously, AEW has deep, if not deeper, pockets than WWE. Impact is on the up and up. thanks to a lot of that work that they've had. Everyone says the Forbidden Door's closed again. It's still wide open. Things are going to happen. New Japan can be affording talent as well. But by the way, congrats to Barrett Brown, who is officially on the New Japan roster. All the way.
It's a Stray Dog Army unit, I think.
Yes.
And I'm like, dude, that's how you know you're in New Japan. If you're in a stable. Oh yeah, you're in, and you're not getting out.
And as someone that all three of us have watched Barrett Brown grow up in the business.
He absolutely did. He was another guy that went from green to one of the best in the world. Like over the past few years for sure.
Hollywood says already texted him and he responded. So
I knew it.
look out, BOW. Look out, San Antonio.
I should have known he texted like the day off.
Oh my god!
And
while we're on the subject of
while
we're on the subject of the releases, another talent that also busted into Texas scene and got signs. You just said it, Zeta Ramir, aka AQA. That's Booker T's protege. That was all Reality of Wrestling. I recommend checking out.
Yeah,
it was a confusing one for me. I was like, with a lot of these names, I was like, okay, I kind of get it. They didn't do what you wanted to do, even though that was your idea in the first place. A lot of people are kind of brand new with your signings. You didn't even use them yet.
Yeah, for example, Zeta. She literally just got there. She had a killer match with Toni Storm, to which she won, and a killer match with Zaray, where she did some innovative stuff that I've yet to see her do in BOW. I was like, what? I mean, not BOW, ROW. And I was like, what? Angela, you've been training? You've been doing some stuff? And then all of a sudden, she had a minor injury, and all of a sudden, they just let her go. I'm like,
yeah.
WTF!
I don't know if y'all heard what Nia Jax posted about her getting released.
No.
She said apparently she's been taking some time off for her mental health. That's what she said.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They gave her
in regards to that.
They gave her a return date. She asked for more time off, and she said she didn't get a response. And then the next thing she knows, she's hearing she's been released. Guys, like, even if you're not a fan of her as a wrestler, which I get it, she has proven to be dangerous. Of course I still love her, but I understand.
I love her as a person. She's a sweetheart.
That's what I mean, as a person. It's like I get even if you don't like her as a wrestler, as a person, that is messed up. I don't care who you are. And my point is, and my thing is, in this age of everyone preaching mental health issues, just lost Daphne Hana Kimura a year ago. And when
Ashley Massaro, that's another one.
Ashley Massaro, and then when a wrestler of your company says, "I need more time for my mental health," and you release her, that makes you look really bad. that does not help you at all.
Damn, rip.
They did it to Bray Wyatt too. He was struggling after the passing of John Huber. So, and they just don't take care of their talent. They really don't. They have what's his name, Nick Khan in his head, right? We're wasting money. Let's let him go. And
right now he's the current Shao Kahn of freaking professional wrestling, killing everybody with hammers.
And this is also why like people have said a number of times. Yeah, he's not perfect, but this is why Tony Khan gets so much props. Mm-hmm. John Moxley, hey man, I think I'm an alcoholic. I need to go take some time off to fix this. Hey, okay, we wanted you in the tournament, but you know what's better than you being in the tournament? You being alive, John. So why don't you go do that, and we're all good. And like I said, of course Tony Khan's not perfect. He's a man, he's a wrestling promoter, he's gonna get stuff wrong. But his level of humanity towards wrestlers so far is one reason why I love AEW so much. It doesn't have to be the perfect company. If it treats its performers as people first and then as wrestlers, I'm sorry, that gives it a huge leg up to me. Because I love pro wrestling, and what I love more than pro wrestling is pro wrestlers living. Is living through it, because they go through so much, all the travel, all the time, all the injuries, all the training, and it takes its toll. And clearly, some of them need help and don't get it, because some companies, or sometimes people ahead of the company. Because I remember when Daphne passed, were blaming Impact for when she had the concussion, and they were saying, well, why didn't Impact do more? I was like, okay, first of all, when that happened to her in Impact, that was a completely different set of regimes that was in charge at that time. And yes, I would fully admit they did screw her over. Oh yeah. The current regime had 100%. No idea. had no idea it was that bad. And you will never convince me that Scott D'Amore, if he had known Daphne was that bad would have not done anything. Because Scott D'Amore was a wrestler and a trainer first before he ever became a promoter like that. So I hate it when people try to blame on someone for something like that. It's just a tragedy. Sometimes it's just no one's fault. Yeah. Sometimes it's just no one's fault. It's just like, they just have that problem. But with WWE, in a sense, I hate to say this, but this kind of is their fault.
It's like a big old game of Among Us. Yep. It's like they're just picking out an imposter and see who's sus. That's basically WWE and how they treat their talents.
Yeah. To me, it's also like, look at it this way. Get your dream job. Like, you get your dream job. And you do everything they said. They told Keith Lee to change his name. They told to add Bearcat or whatever, which wasn't the worst thing ever. It was just weird. They told Karrion Kross to put on that Spartan crap, which was the worst thing ever, and I stand by that till the day I died. That was the stupidest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah, Mia Yim barf up freaking mothballs during a segment.
Party City costumes I've seen look better than that, because at least then they're supposed to be cheap.
Well, that was the clearance aisle. So
with all the money that they be making, that's all they can afford for this gimmick. Like, come on now.
Tina worked at Party City growing up. She can confirm that's probably from the clearance aisle. But anyway,
it's like you do all that, and then when you do what they ask, they snatch it away. I'm sorry, as humans, that is soul crushing. That is mentally damaging, and that's not fair. It would be different if someone who actually did something wrong in WWE got punished for it. Novelty, I know it hasn't happened to this day, I don't think. But that would be something. But when these guys, not one person on that list did anything wrong. That's my point. Not one person on this list did anything that warranted getting fired. Not one person.
List, the majority of the list from last year's and earlier this year.
Last year,
majority, I said.
Majority.
But then you can have a DUI and win the tag championships. But that's another story. We're gonna move on here though, because we could talk forever about this. But Hollywood did say probably jeopardized a Rock Roman match by releasing Nia. We'll wait and see. We'll see how that affects that booking and where they go.
Or dream matches of not having Athena Sasha, Athena Naomi, but that's not story another time.
There could be some releases down the road, and eventually that'll happen somewhere, and maybe
hopefully
a lot closer to home than you think. So,
and just a disclaimer: we're not happy that these people lose their jobs, because everybody's got to work and stuff. We're just happy that they get to spread their wings and fly and go where they're celebrated, not tolerated.
They may or may not.
This harkens back to the Monday Night Wars days. When you had towns that can pay, the difference is AEW's been so far a lot better managed than WCW.
My leaps and bounds.
Which reminds me of who was it from FTR that tweeted this? I really wish WCW won.
Oh, it was Dax.
Oh man,
that's
dude!
Go ahead, but that's a good stop point. But go ahead.
I read that tweet and I fell out laughing. I was like, okay, I'm done.
All right, let's move on. We talked about the somber news, and I wanted to get that out of the way, but I did not expect us to talk as long as we did about it. But let's get on to something happier, something exciting. The PWI Women's 150 now. Started out, of course, as the female 50, then the women's 100, and now it is the women's 150. Something that they had talked about, because when they did the female 50 initially, they struggled to find 50 wrestlers. When they expanded it to 100, they had a hard time cutting it down to 100. Now it's 150. And probably within the next 5 years, it could be 300, 400, maybe the full 500.
I can easily see it being 200 next year for sure.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Because I think, and you know what? Ironically, I think one of the reasons it might be is because of like AEW. I think Tony Khan has been hearing the criticism of the women's roster, and he's really taking that to heart. Hence the TBS title, like we said. And because of that criticism, a lot of other companies step up their women's roster game. I want to put ROH there for the women's championship, but they might not be here come January, and I'm not okay with that. Anyway.
I'm still recognizing Roxy, but anyway.
Me too.
I will say this issue itself, if you haven't gotten it already, if you don't have a subscription to PWI, you might be able to find it at your local retailer or your local grocery store. Or you can also go to the website, pwi-online.com, and get the digital copy. There's actually some really good articles in here. They talked to Renee Paquette, formerly Renee Young. There's, of course, the 150. They have some remembrance articles for Daphne. They talk a bit about the NWA empowerment, how NWA is making history with the women's. This one's very much about the women's centric. Talk about ROH's women's division. There's
Roxy!
a big picture of Roxy in Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Roxy,
Which, by the way, happy belated birthday.
Please,
She's
Roxy, please.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, happy belated birthday. She's no longer a teen, so she's all grown up now.
Not quite.
Kind of.
You know,
Kinda big
Roxy,
on that,
and I'm going to say this as somebody who's been there. And God, I feel old. I'm twice your age now. This is the limbo year. You're not a teenager, but you can't legally drink. But then again, whatever. Happy birthday. Enjoy your 20s, because I'm sure in 21 you're going to party like crazy. And speaking of age, WWE does. If you legally can rent a car, they're not going to hire you as a woman. Basically, that's when you think about it. One other aspect too in this, you have your ballot for the 2021 Achievement Awards for PWI.
Okay.
So you have to have a copy of the magazine to submit a ballot. You can mail it in or email it, but they'll have all the information in here. Ballots are due by December 1st. So if you want to vote in the year-end awards, and there's some interesting categories, and have some fun making some up as well, you have to have a copy of the magazine to do so. So go pick this up wherever you can, or get a digital copy as well. So as for us, we're going to talk about the 150. 150 best wrestlers as of right now, according to PWI. Let me put up the little graphic here and explain how they evaluated this year, because that's always important, right? The evaluation period itself was October 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2021. They evaluated them based on in-ring achievement, influence, activity, technical ability, the breadth and quality of competition, and there's an emphasis placed on your success within a women's division and promotions. So the evaluation criteria is a little bit different from last year. They put a lot of emphasis on championships, but obviously with pandemic whatnot going on, they really kind of expanded this to be very similar to what they evaluate the PWI 500 with, except they emphasize that you wrestled strictly in divisions, women's divisions and women's promotions. Now obviously a lot of women, a record number, made it onto the PWI 500 itself, but this is the 150, little different evaluation criteria. So we called the top 10 last week. I'll go ahead and mention it here again. Number 10, Raquel Gonzalez. Number 9, Tam Nakano. Number 8, Io Shirai. 7, Sayuri. 6, Sasha Banks. Shuri, excuse me. 6, Sasha Banks. 5, Thunder Rosa. 4, Britt Baker. DMD. 3, Deonna Purrazzo. God help me on this next one. 2, Utami Yashishita. Nailed it.
You got it.
Yashishita, yeah.
Yashishita.
And number 1, Bianca Belair. Guys, first off, happy with the top 10? Was someone missing? Was someone too high? What do y'all think?
I'm with this list as far as the top 10 this year, based off the accomplishments that happened throughout that period. They definitely pushed Bianca to the forefront with the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and all that jazz. So her being number 1, it made sense. And I'm more so happy that they're recognizing Japanese women's wrestling, particularly Stardom, a lot more, because Stardom definitely needs a lot more exposure out to the public. I mean, New Japan's recognizing them. Wish AEW would recognize them a little more, but that's other connections and other Joshi promotions. But that's aside the point. The fact that you got the current
pandemic,
that too. Mm-hmm. But the fact that you got 3 of the tops from that promotion right there, as well as some other Japanese talents from other promotions in the top 10 right here. Seeing Shuri, one of my favorites on this list, because she's been killing it in Stardom for sure. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not too much familiar with Utami, but I've been watching her stuff here and there, and I definitely got to catch up on my Stardom. So I'm just happy seeing her on the list as well.
Yeah, well, with Utami, she's one of the. I think she's one of their bigger projects as far as making her the rising star. She definitely stepped up to the plate and made it. I don't know. In hindsight, I do see why Raquel was number 10. I don't know. I just feel like it might have been a bit soon to put her that high, but then I don't know. Maybe I'm just being biased.
But
Well, look at the
you gotta
evaluation
recognize
period. She's held that championship since
Yeah,
April.
I guess
I
guess that's what makes me change my mind is when I see the evaluation period. That really makes me change
that,
my mind.
and you got to remember her pre-title run when she was having those classic matches with Rhea
know
Ripley,
what?
and they
You
were
know what?
billing her as that monster
That's
to
a
eventually
really good
take
point.
that title
That's a really
off
good
her.
point.
The War
Right.
Games wins with Io Shirai, and from there,
That's
it's
a
mainly
really
her
good point.
pre-stuff
You're
before her post-stuff championship run. So,
Which, by the way, I'll be really mad if they don't do War Games this year because it's starting to look like it.
oh, they are. They just confirmed it.
Okay, good.
December 5th, I believe. I gotta recheck.
They did. Okay, you know what they did? Because I saw someone say, you know what? It's not going to feel like War Games because the Undisputed Era isn't there. And I was going to be like, that's going to hurt, actually,
Yeah.
now that you mention it.
So looking through this, and I'm looking for the champions here. Deonna Purrazzo, while she's no longer the Knockouts champion, she held the title for quite a long time. She was number 3, obviously, as we mentioned.
And mind you, that was someone WWE told that she does not look good for TV. Look at her now.
Okay, I can never, for the life of me, understand it when they say that about some people. I was like, oh, look at all of her wrestling attire. She's a freaking superhero / villain. Oh my god, she could be in a Marvel movie. By the way, manifest that. I would love to see her as a villain or a hero in a Marvel movie. But it's
I mean,
Put her in the Eternals, goddammit. Yeah, so.
I mean, she cosplay. I mean, at Bound for Glory, she cosplayed as Yzma from freaking Emperor's New Groove with that attire. She was having what's his face? I forgot Aiden English's new name, but he wanted Kronk to pull the lever with that attire.
Matthew Reinhold.
Reinhold, yeah.
Yeah, Reinhold,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah, she
let's
just-
see. I'm sorry, look through the champions. Charlotte,
Happy about
15. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Happy for Thunder Rosa, though. Someone
Yes.
that we witnessed become where she is right now.
Super high on the list. I was like, yes, number 5, thank you. Next year, number 1.
Arguably, like, the best wrestler who has not won a championship on TV yet. Outside
for
of NWA, I think was the last one she held.
Right.
NWA
Yeah.
was the last one she held before. I think Camilla beat her. Beat her. Yeah.
I mean, she had well, you mentioned major mainstream promotions, but as far as like independent titles, she carried like 6 titles consecutively at the same time,
so.
which
Yeah.
explained why her husband was so upset of going to TSA every single time. But that's a different story, a different
That's
time.
hilarious.
Just get
hilarious.
priority security right, you know. Let's see, championship holders. Britt Baker, AEW Women's Champ is number 4. Charlotte Flair is 15. What?
That's
Right?
not as shocking considering the whole WrestleMania thing that she missed. So
Yeah. Kaylee Ray, I figure she could have been a little higher considering, it was the pandemic, but she was the longest reigning champion of over 600 days for a modern main roster company. So I figure she should be high a little higher. But I'm happy for Trisha Dora and Gazelle Shaw, who's trailing right behind her.
Trisha Dora at 18, man, I was like, hell freaking yes. Trisha Dora 18, give me all that, son. It's your top 10.
And Giselle Shaw, she's killing it in the UK right now with Progress and all the other European promotions that she's killing it right now. So happy about her. And another one of our own, Jordan Grace, right here. I see at 22, which
Digital Media Championship in Impact, which is a
Pressing dudes left and right.
title, Roxy, ROH Women's Champ at number 28.
Trailing Mako Satomura, that's a big accomplishment right there. I see that. And Masha Slamovich is right behind her. Another one people should definitely look out for.
Masha's going to be higher next year. I guarantee you that.
She will.
She'll be higher next year.
And Roxy debuted on the list at 28 too, by the way. So good spot.
That's impressive.
One you probably don't know, JC, but it's Miyu Yamashita. She's the Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. She's the princesses champion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I thought that was a little low for her, but then again, they don't have a lot of exposure, so that's probably why.
Same with Camille. Yes, she defeated Serena Deep, but Camille's still finding her feet wet, and she's getting better as her top rank keeps growing.
I hope Serena Deeb is top 10 next year. Her that heel turn she did on Sheeta was amazing.
And mind you,
it was a master stroke of just how to go heel in a heartbeat. I loved it.
And I've seen Serena work heel in the past, especially for Smash when she was healing up against Kana and Shuri up in Japan.
Yeah.
So, and of course, her first run in WWE with the Straight Edge Society and everything. So, glad Punk threw in that little tease right there in one of his segments right there.
She was at ACW for one show.
Yes, against Amanda Fox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think.
Because I remember specifically because one of my former choir members was into wrestling at the time, and she wanted to go to an all women's show, and I took her, and she got to meet Serena Deeb because I think she recognized her from TV.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Let's see, champions. Becky Lynch at 34. Not a champion, by the way. Bayley, who hasn't been on TV for a while due to injuries, at 21. That speaks highly of how much she carried the company through the pandemic. I don't give a fuck what Roman Reigns says.
That alone, I would have put her in the
I would have put her in top 10 as well. Or put her in the males list over Roman Reigns, the fact that she carried that whole pandemic era.
Steady, what's up, joining? Where's Maddie at? I assume he means Maddie Rankowski. I don't think she's in here.
I don't think she's been on enough TV yet.
But
next year...
I was gonna say next year, if she keeps getting exposure, keeps getting talked about and stuff like that, is there a good chance she's in this list?
Yeah.
And speaking of Mandy Rankowski, she will be competing against the NWA Women's Champ Camille this Sunday for River City Wrestling for the title. So,
but to your point, JC, I don't see why she wouldn't be. I mean, she's already got that match coming up, and she's been on Dark a whole lot. I mean, I don't care if people say Dark counts. So she's been on Dark. She could very easily show up on AEW Dynamite or Rampage, even if it's a squash match. She'll still be on TV. She's become a major player, not just in Texas, but in women's wrestling as a whole in the U.S. So I don't see why next year she couldn't be on this list, even if it's kind of low tier. Everyone starts somewhere. So
right.
Whenever they had this list before, Roxy wasn't even on it, but now she was 28? She said 28.
Yeah, 28 was for her debut.
Yeah, her debut. But everyone starts somewhere.
I got to call out Big Swole. 72. She dropped from 39. Obviously, she was out quite a while after having a Crohn's flare up, and hers was pretty severe from what I understand. So it took her out for a good while. Yeah. But I fully expect her to be back. Alexa Bliss also had a big drop. She dropped from 27 to 77.
Yeah, I see that as well. Mainly because of her role, non-wrestling role. So that's probably why she dropped.
Yeah, and I think she's taking a little bit of time off. I'm pretty sure she'll be getting married soon anyway. So,
right.
Yep. Let's see. Shayna Baszler dropped from 13 to 62. Now, obviously, we think she's going to go singles now because her tag team partner is gone. Cut. I don't know if I fully trust Shayna as a tag team wrestler in this. She's better singles,
She's way better singles.
Yeah.
I mean, the Nia thing ran its course. It did. I mean, it got a WrestleMania match out of it. Yes, and 2 title reigns.
That is something pretty good out of that. I'll admit.
It robs the main roster of the true Shayna Baszler that we all know, which obviously Vince does not see, which is why they booked her as such. But
yeah.
So over these random tag teams, though, man. I'm just so over this. It's you have all these people who tag team forever, and these random teams win belts. I'm so over that, man. It's so annoying.
And the current champions are a random team that actually works well, but one of them's not even in the Survivor Series match.
Yeah.
And hey! Yeah! I just realized that! Oh, what the fuck? Okay, sorry. That's
WWE booking, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And the fact that you have a Mae Young Classic winner and a former NXT UK Women's Champion, and you're not doing jack squat with her. Yeah.
Okay, I'm good. I'm good now.
Ember Moon, now Athena, we can call her at 90. She wasn't on the list last year. I think she had been dealing with an injury.
Yeah, she was dealing with the injury, but the constant losing streak has dropped her down here by the booking, not her. But she did win them tag titles.
I think a lot of people dropped on this list too because when they did this list last year, there was a lot of people that didn't know exposure due to the pandemic. They try to take that into consideration, but it's just difficult. So you see that. Kylie Ray, I should say, who's also dealing with her own mental health issues, and I'm glad she's taking care of that. She's still at 44, which is good. Natalia keeps the streak alive. Where's she? I know I saw her name here.
I'm gonna shout out a couple of Texas
66.
talents. I know Hyen was high on the list for 37 with her Heart of Shimmer reign. Shout out to Sensei Hyen right there. I see the Queen of the House Rose, Rachel Rose, at 113 debuting this year. So congrats to her.
Rachel Rose at 113. Nice. I didn't even notice that.
Yep. I got the list pulled up as we're currently speaking.
Yep.
What's another one? Tony Storm 121 and Mercedes Martinez 123. Yeah.
I
of course,
I mentioned Natalia because to date now, I think she's the only woman to appear on every iteration of this list, from the female 50 all the way to the women's 150. I don't believe LuFisto made it because she was the only other person.
I
didn't think she wrestled that much.
Yeah, so that's probably why.
So.
So yeah, there's your trivia hits are still true. Natalia's been on this list since its inception. And still
shout out to Titty Lynn, who's 139. I know she's been doing big things.
She's definitely going to be higher next year for sure, Titty Lynn.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to a couple of personal favorites. Queen Aminata is 100. Layla Gray, 148. She's super nice. Mina Shirakawa at 149 because all the reactions she gets in Shimmer are hilarious. And Genocide, who at 142, who I am somewhat shocked that they would dare put her that low because she could bench press everyone at that office and kill them all. But anyway, to each their own. Live your life at your own risk.
And Savannah Evans, I just saw her name. There we go. 124. Trent Mercedes Martinez at 123. Finally getting the big deal with Impact Wrestling, and I remember her as faction with her Big Swole and forgot the third. Devin Nicole, the sexy young caramels, and now she's a cannibal right now, about to eat up.
Savannah Evans is way scarier on TV now than I like. I don't know why. It's like when I saw her on TV, I was like, oh, I know her. Why does she look so much scarier? That's frightening. What she's doing.
Giving me Cleo from Set It Off vibes. That's what I'm getting from her. No, it's not because of the braid. It's legit. Like, she will run you over and go out with the G. That's the vibe I get from her every time I see her on Impact now. I mean, she won the Monsters Ball.
A Set It Off reference on this show. That's the first. We've never done that before.
It was either that or the Equalizer. Shout out to Queen Latifah.
I like that show. My parents gonna be watching it.
I'll tell you the biggest drop I think I've seen on this list. It was Frankie Monet, now returning as Ty Valkyrie. She was 17 last year. Dropped to 126.
What is that?
If this had only been a list of 100, she would not have been on there. But what does
that tell you about WWE booking?
There you go. There you go.
Right. And Rio is 141, and she's the first AEW Women's Champion, so I know she...
In her defense, she was, I think, in Japan for a while, just, since everything shut down, she couldn't get back to... So, that was the one I understand why she's there.
She had the biggest drop, because she was 8 last year.
She was 8
last year. She was up there, so... Anyone that you guys would say maybe noticeably absent that you thought should be on here?
They said Maddie in the chats, but Maddie's getting her way.
She still has ways to go.
Promise Braxton, she's up and coming, and I'll see her up there as well. Yeah. Oh, Zeta! I don't see AQA on here if I'm breezing through it. And she's not on here. She should have been on here. Oh, yeah, but I remember she had the injury that took her out for a while, and she only had like a few matches before she got signed, so I could definitely see why she wouldn't be on this list. But yeah, AQA, another one that should have been on this list. But other than that, I
don't think I see anyone who's missing. I think everyone on here should be is about right.
Right. I mean, I'm just happy they're expanding the women's list, and the fact that they're also including the women in the men's list. Granted, they've been doing that with the 90s, i.e. Jacqueline being the first one and then Manami Toyota later, but I'm just happy there's more inclusion, not only for women, but for in general with the PWI.
Hey, I do see a problem. La Rosa Negra is 53, and that's incorrect. She should at least be in the top 20, and no one can...
I'm with you on that one.
No one can change my mind on that. Fight me!
I was waiting for you to call that out. Actually, I was waiting for you to call that out.
I just noticed it, and I'm like, this list is incorrect. She should at least be 20. No offense to Fujimoto. She's great, but nope. The rest should at least be 20. Fight me! But yeah.
I steady. Did they include women from the DWL? No, but maybe they should, right? Heels joke, guys. You know, if you haven't seen the Heels
Yeah,
TV
yeah.
series.
But look. I heard it's getting a second season. Wait
It
till
is
next
getting
year.
second season. Yes.
Oh boy.
Wait till next year, right?
Wait till next year.
If we see Stephen Amell in the PWI 500, we know that counts.
Wait. Actually, to be fair, I actually kind of wanted to see him on there a couple of years ago, and I felt like he deserved it.
Wait, hold on. Okay, I just thought of this. So obviously we see CM Punk back at the end of the PWI 500. He's probably going to be in there. Do they also call out his time as Ricky Rabies when he was on Heels? Because that shit was hilarious if you haven't seen that episode.
Once again, I say yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Any kind of wrestling-based television show, I feel like should count. Because that's also wrestling. Even if they have, like, I'm sorry, that's character, that's in camera, that's effect on the business. I feel like it should count. Even if it's like in the low 500s, 400s, whatever, I feel like it should count. It's still on TV.
Who here do you think next year will be a top 10? For sure.
Ooh, that's a good
Definitely
question.
Bianca if they keep her momentum.
Please, for the love of God, keep her momentum.
Shoot. Roxy. Well, I would say
Yeah.
Roxy if they find a place for
I would say
her.
Roxy's a
She
bit of a wild card. Now, obviously, young, talented, first Ring of Honor, potentially only Ring of Honor Women's Champion. We don't know what's going to happen in the company. We talked about that last week. But if they allow
I want
her
Trisha Dora in the top 10 if they continue her upon
I want
Africa
Trisha Dora.
that puzzle role.
if they allow Roxy to travel and defend that championship and take it all over, can you imagine
Yeah,
how
I
the
could.
kind of career explosion she's going to have? So, yeah, top 10 for her. I want Thunder Rosa's number one next year, hands down.
Too.
I don't.
I think Serena Deeb could break into the top 10 next year.
That too.
Yeah.
If they could keep her momentum going as they did with
I think they can.
Sheeta.
I
think
feel
they can.
I feel like Thunder Rosa's about to have a full on breakout year. She's gonna
And
start winning
Tommy,
championships.
going back to your comment of Raquel being on top 10, while I did agree with her in being top 10, I think Sheeta should have been in that top 10, considering that she held that title throughout the longest time. Yes, she was
Yeah.
the pandemic champion, but she was given competition and just
She
keep
was
whacking them up.
She was like even though like like you said, even though it was during the pandemic, she was one of the people who was one of the reasons to watch AEW for sure. I feel like her and Bailey were like for their respective companies one of the main reasons you kept tuning in.
Yes.
So it was like it was kind of like I don't, you probably heard us say this on the show, Brandon, but me and JC and Mike always say women's wrestling is what saved Impact in the first place. And I feel like during the pandemic, it was women's wrestling that really kept pro wrestling going.
Yes.
Between people like Sheeta and Asuka and Bailey.
Diana Peraza.
And Diana.
Yeah, and Diana, yeah, like just kept women's wrestling, it kept wrestling going because they were putting on such clinics because they could. You know, it was. I feel like everyone was like, well, nothing else is going on. If y'all want to go kill it out there, go kill it out there. And they went and killed it out there.
And when that's very true, because when you think about it, the promotions that didn't really harness what they had on the women's side of things, they're struggling now. Ring of Honor is a prime example. You know, they didn't really start bringing the women's wrestling to the forefront until they were trying to get back in live events. They had the tournament and brought, they announced that women's title at the beginning of 2020. Like that was supposed to be happening, but obviously they had issues with live event venues and whatnot. So
That and the pandemic, obviously.
yeah. So, but yeah, Tommy, make a good point. Impact women's wrestling, AEW women's wrestling. We were picking Hikaru Shida to win every single time until she lost because we didn't beat her.
And then we did it to Diana Peraza, and look, and I tell everyone, I will say this until I can't anymore. If you weren't watching SmackDown or Raw to see what Bailey was doing, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
You watch SmackDown and Raw because you could skip the whole show. If Bailey was on screen, that was must-see TV.
And to piggyback on that, back to the whole change in landscape of hiring women at Young's. Look at Micah James, who's in her 40s, and she's the current Knockout champion, and look the best. Whoop some ass, even at her home house, and take your title on top of that. So.
Well, quiet as kept. I never thought Mickey James ever looked bad, but that's just me. I ain't trying.
She never did look back, even in her old WWE days.
I ain't trying to say nothing about another man's wife being fine and all that, but it's like she ain't never looked bad to me a day in her life. If you call me out, you son of a bitch. in the chat, and Hollywood said ding dong.
Ding dong, hello, yeah. And Bernsey, Mission Pro is doing awesome. I mean, how many of these talents here are in Mission Pro?
No!
Think about
Mission
that.
Pro should be on this magazine purely for their influence on women's wrestling alone. They should have an article about them for sure.
I mean, we brought up Thunder Rosa in the top 5. She's the reason why women's wrestling's getting the full front right now.
You're right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They have killer shows all the time. Mission Pro, they have killer shows all the time.
I cannot wait for their December 11th one. That is a stacked one. They already got the flyer for the talent that's going to be there, and I'm just like, it's right over there at the Salvation Army. So
it's going to be a good show.
Mm-hmm.
If you're catching this after we've gone live, let us know your thoughts on the PWI Women's 150, the first ever PWI Women's 150, and pick up this issue. It's a really good one. Even if you don't subscribe to Pro Wrestling Illustrated, I think this is worth getting either digital or get your hands on it. A lot of good stories. They really do a good job of covering how big women's wrestling is right now and how much it's changing, and gets you excited for it.
And speaking of one more shout out before we move on, I want to shout out the women you see in that magazine and all that glam's been done. That's majority of that's been done by one of our good friends, Lindsay Hendricks. So we want to give her a special shout out because she'll be at Full Gear glamming the women that will be competing on that show, that particular women. So we want to give her some love and shout out right there because she's doing the damn thing, and all that glam you see from all the women you see in that magazine. That comes from her because everybody loves Lindsay. So
because she's been doing it for Mission Pro, RCW, and like you said, she'll be at Full Gear this weekend.
Nice.
And NWA too. She's done glamour for a lot of those.
Dude, she's been everywhere. Yeah, she was in NWA too.
All right. With that, we had already mentioned the Moxley, of course, entering rehab for his alcoholism. That's a little bit of wrestling news here. Just want to wish him the best. I know that there's been a lot of rumors too that him and his wife Renee Paquette and their child are planning to leave. They live in Vegas, but I think this sounds like they're moving to Ohio, which I think is a better situation. It's a little closer to home for John, and he's gonna have his family around. Take the time you need to just get healthy, and shout out to AW for embracing that and not, first for Moxley having the courage to enter it.
Yeah.
Second, to have the courage to be public about it. And 3, to AEW for supporting it.
CM Punk just on the mic, just like I like what he said at the beginning. He said, "I'll sit here all night and listen to you guys chant his name." I thought that was a really cool. And he said it. He's like, he's not my best friend or anything, but hey, if you guys need help, get it. And I feel like that's the kind of message, like when a guy like Punk says it, really has a lot of weight because a lot of people are such diehard CM Punk fans. And if CM Punk says, "Hey, it's okay to get help," I think we can see more people start to get the help that they need, which is a good thing.
And not only that, he's straight edge for a reason. He seen family members, I don't know if it was his dad or something, grow up with alcoholism, grow up with drugs and everything. And that's the reason why straight edge is such an important thing to him. So he knows, while he's not a heavy drinker himself, but he knows how the problems that it can be. And having lost a family member to alcoholism, I do understand it. So please get healthy, Mox. The wrestling world loves you, and we're all here for you. So with that, we'll get into our 1-minute warning segment. Brandon, I know this is something new to you, so I'm going to give you a little break. I'm going to let Tommy go first this time. I know you're not used to that, Tommy.
I know.
But you got something for us this week?
Oh, I got something for you.
All right. I have a feeling I know what he might be talking about. But
you may or may not.
All right.
Let's see.
3, 2, 1, and go.
About the never Openweight 6-man titles, and I can't believe that freaking Evil! You ruined something else that I love!
I knew it.
1 year as champions! They had the belts for a year! The longest reign! And freaking House of Torture ruined everything! Stupid new evil dark faction! Why can't we have nice things? All I'm saying is, they built up those titles so much. Couldn't that title change happen? Okay, Power Struggle is a big show. I'm not going to pretend like it's not. But could it have been Wrestle Kingdom? Could they have made it to 1-4 of Wrestle Kingdom? Why did it have to be? And to Evil! Evil has been ruining everything! Ruined Naito's title run. He ruined the New Japan Cup. Damn it, Evil! You think with a name like Evil you could trust the guy, but of course you can't. Backstabbing, traitorous ledge. Anyway. Done.
You sure?
because for those of you who don't know, my wife and stepdaughter had to endure all this in real time when I learned about it on. I walked out of my office and crashed face first into the couch crying, just like that, because they heard me scream no in like the most guttural way. They were like, "Okay, what's wrong?" And then they proceeded to ignore me for the next hour. And yes, it was about an hour I was complaining.
I actually got a 1 minute warning.
You got one, Brandon?
I got one.
All right. Whenever you're ready, set and go.
Alrighty, so for my first 1 minute warning, I just want to tell each and every one of you, if you don't like a certain promotion that's doing certain things, just go out to a different promotion and go support not only that particular promotion, but those talents that you definitely support them. Again, why I don't shut up about this woman right here is because for the past 11 years, I've witnessed her became the star that she later became. And the same goes with those that was on that list that we mentioned earlier. Support your local independents because you'll get to meet and greet those that, you never know. Later one day, eventually end up in bigger and better promotions. And depending on the success of what they went through or not, once they part ways and decide to come back, you can come back and embrace and relate and basically have some good times in regards of hey, remember when this and this happened, and remember when that and that happened before you got signed, and how does it feel now that you accomplished a majority of your dreams right now? So just gotta remember, nothing begins and ends at a certain promotion. It only ends when that individual says, I'm done with this crap. So support those, not only the 18 that just got released, but everybody in general in professional wrestling, and let them know that there is options out there besides that one. So you don't have to be glued to the bubble in order for just one particular promotion. There's a lot out here, and Texas is one of them with the thousands of promotions we have. So go support.
I feel like you were in some wrestling Facebook groups and you're just trying to reply to all the comments and stuff people are saying.
We're probably in a couple of the same ones. And yeah, he is.
Okay, yeah.
Because he's right. I love it. I love it when Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. I gotta stop doing that.
Yeah.
And Seth Rollins, when he was Tyler Black, both main events of WrestleManias, and I just pulled out pictures randomly of when I met them back in 2006, 2007, right before when they were in ACW. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't have anything this week, or at least not right now, because we are doing another show on Saturday. I might have something then. We'll see. Yeah. As for us, of course, our Twitter at @CCG_WrestleCast. You see at the bottom of the screen. Let us know your thoughts on the releases of the latest round of WWE releases, and there could be more on the horizon. I think Kyle O'Reilly's contract expires in a couple of weeks.
AEW.
I don't know about Johnny Gargano though.
You know how badly I want that
Gargano
dude.
is an interesting one because his wife
Yeah.
is still under contract. His wife is pregnant, and if WWE releases a pregnant woman, it's going to look really bad on the computer. Yeah.
Ass Awesome Kong, but that's after a whole different story.
That's a little, yeah.
Jackie
that's
Gata,
different.
Don Marie.
Okay.
Those are some other choices.
In this age of
I
cancel
forgot there was a
culture and
precedent.
social media, it's going to be
Yeah,
really bad.
it would be worse now, though. He's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it would definitely be a lot worse now. So.
Well, look, again, Kyle O'Reilly, AEW. I don't care if him and Adam Cole have wrestled 5,000 times. 5,001! 5,001!
Just give him away from Wagner. Get him far away from that mother. Anyway.
Hollywood shouting out Hybrid Experience is this Saturday
Hybrid.
night at 7:30 p.m. Bell time. Thorne Latimer, Sledge, and others will be on that show. If you're in town, want to check it out. Yep.
That and like Brandon said, RCW this weekend. It's a pretty stacked wrestling weekend. This because if anyone's in the Dallas Fort Worth area, VIP is having their anniversary show. I may or may not try to make that. I'm not sure. I'm still on the fence. But
And Russell Wave's having their chili cookout if you're in the Houston area. Shout out to my homie Nick Irene, who's running that promotion. They're having their chili cook-off wrestling show down there in Houston. So those in that area,
It's the
definitely
most,
go
it's the
support
most
them.
Texas thing I've ever heard of. A wrestling Thai chili cook-off. It's the most Texas thing that has ever existed in this state. In Texas, it's the most Texas thing ever. And I can't believe this isn't an annual thing that has been running for 50 years.
Well, you got to remember, he
it's
just
so
started the
amazing.
promotion, and
I know, but I'm surprised the promotion's never done
I'll
this
feed
before.
this to Nick and let him know, hey, you got to make this an annual thing because you're in the right state to be doing this, especially for the month of November. So let's get it.
Yeah,
Speaking of
if
chili,
it's-
I think that's something I'm gonna cook as soon as we get up.
If it's in San Antonio, it'd be probably barbacoa and Big Red, right? That's how we do it. So
What do you think I've been drinking?
yeah.
It's our national
can't
soda.
write
We're a
this
state.
shit, man.
Hey, it's our national soda. We're a state. I said what I said.
Nah, hold on. Dr. Pepper might say something about that. I'm just saying. So all right.
True.
That's the real election debate in Texas.
Make sure you go out and vote.
Later this week, Saturday at noon Central Time, we are going to have our preview of AEW Full Gear stacked card. As if we didn't have enough wrestling to talk about this week, and we may also talk about whatever wrestling news comes out tomorrow because it seems like whatever.
Because at this point, and if something happens tomorrow, Terry, don't call me.
Yes.
Please do harass his phone 10 to
I'm not gonna answer
5,000 times.
If I see some bad news tomorrow, and if Hollywood calls the phone, I'm like, I'm not answering this. I absolutely refuse to do this today.
Thank you everyone for joining us on the live chat, and if you're watching us later, please feel free to comment. Let us know what you thought on the topics, and we'll call those out. And we do appreciate you taking the time. Brandon, thank you very much for joining us. I know it was a bit last minute, but I know this was personal to you, especially with Athena's release. But to everyone out there that has been released, I will say this: you got released at the right time. There's so many opportunities out there for you in wrestling. And to everyone on the PWI Women's 150, congratulations. But don't get complacent. Your career is just beginning. And
I said it.
Yeah.
And I said it earlier. Go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated.
That's right.
Sure.
Down here, we got Tommy.
Guys.
We got Brandon, a.k.a. B Ninja. And I'm JC. And as always, heels and baby faces, remember, pro wrestling is real.
People are
fake. Be safe. We'll see you Saturday.